Hello, everyone. Hello, all my friends in the chat, and welcome to all of our newbies and everyone that will watch the replay later on. I want to say hello. Make sure you watch out. We have a class coming up, a free class. My little glasses are crooked here. A free class coming out that we're going to put out the information by Friday. And so be watching for that. I want to say hello to all my friends, Laura, Missy, Linda, Gretchen. Hello, Gretchen, and all the friends. I know she is at a event or a retreat together, and I told Gretchen to tune in so we could say hello to all of her friends. Hello, friends. And Gretchen, I hope you have a wonderful time. Hello, Beth and Norma. Let's see here, all of our friends. So on Monday night, we did a card with the little birds from Sweet Songs, did some very simple Copeland coloring. Tonight, we're going to do a similar card, but we're going to use stencils. So if you remember Monday night, I asked, on stamp sets that have little images, do you like to color? Or do you like to have the coordinating stencils? And it kind of was split both ways. A lot of people like to color. A lot of people like the simplicity of having stencils. And a lot of people like having the options of both. So some days you feel like coloring and some days you don't. And so tonight we're going to use the stencils that come along with the it is sweet, but it's called Storybook Spring with the little wreath and the little bunny rabbit. So that's what we're going to play with this evening. Let's see here. Let's see. Missed Monday's live. Farming has started for spring planting. Oh my goodness, Beth, you need to put pictures in the challenge group or something so we can see what is going on. Okay. So I'm going to go down to my desk view here, and I have my little sticky mat all ready to go with the cute little wreath. And what I have done is I have stamped the wreath, the bunny. I'm going to make this into a little crown for the bunny's head, and then I'm going to add some kind of cute little springy sentiment onto this. I've also stamped the bees and the butterflies that I can just have kind of buzzing around. And we're going to do this super easy peasy. Lisa and I have been testing the dies for the upcoming May release. And so whatever inks and brushes and things that I have on my desk, those are the colors that we're going to use tonight. I'm going to make it easy peasy on myself. Okay, so this is a 4 stencil set. And as you can see, or maybe not see because of, the way that the light is set up, but everything is kind of on one stencil. So it's one of those sets that you kind of have to move around a little bit. So I'm going to start with the wreath, and this little mat is sticky on these stencils. And so it may take me just a second, but we're going to get it at the end. And this stencil has some of the little leaves in there. And so I'm just going to grab brushes. We're going to chat. We're going to ink blend, and it's just going to be some fun. So this is my Mowed Lawn brush, and I'm just going to go around and go to town here. And then when it comes time to put together this card, I'm going to show you some ideas on ways that we can kind of mix some products together to create something that's maybe a little, how I like to do things kind of an easy way, but make them look a little more fancy than, maybe they would have looked if we had just kind of die cut it and put it on a card. So that's kind of what we're going to do. So I've got that first layer down, and this is where we can start pulling in like our little brushes, our little detail brushes. And we're going to add some shading. I've got to move my big old cup of water out of the way. And I've got, oh my goodness, like, I don't know, a whole bunch of colors laid out here from different projects that I haven't put the inks away yet, but good thing because now I've got a bunch to grab. So this is Rustic Wilderness, my very favorite green oxide. And if you were going to grab any green out of the oxide family of colors, this is the one that I would recommend because you can make it light, you can make it dark. I think it's an easy one to grab to get lots of bang for your buck. This is one that when we do the class that's coming up, the free class, this will definitely be on my list because like I said, it is an easy green. Let's see here. I am using my little brush here and I can already tell in a couple of little places that my stencil is not set exactly where I would want it to be, but you know what? It's all going to work out in the end and it's going to be cute. So I'm going to very gently pull this stencil back and then we're going to be able to see now where we've got that initial shading. Let me come down just a little bit. We've got that initial shading at the tips of the leaves with the Mowed Lawn, and then we have the shading in there with the Rustic Wilderness. Now you can see a couple of little spots where Kelley did not line it up so well. No big deal. We're gonna keep rolling here with this. Now, because I'm going to want to color my bunny in here in a minute, I am going to give these just a little bit of a cleanup because I don't want to smush any of the colors into my little bunny. Now, I'm going to try to do a better job in lining this up this time so that this little sticky mat, if you are ever in the market for a mat to hold all the things down, I can tell you that these little grip mats from Waffle Flower, they are strong, especially when you're using it to hold down the stencils. Okay, so this stencil or this layer that I have, it is the little tiny flowers. I can see it's the little centers to the bigger flowers. I don't know if I'm going to color those in quite yet, and I will show you why in just a second. But this is going to be one like, you know what? I'm not going to use that one. I'm going to use my little brush, the little detail brush, because I'm going to just hit these little bitty flowers. And let's do a little bit of mustard seed, and I think I'm actually going to even grab this littler brush that's got the mustard seed on it, and I'm grabbing the little brush because I want to keep everything concentrated into these little flowers, and that's going to allow me to dab this in, whereas a big brush, I'm more likely to go over the areas in those big flowers that I don't really want to hit right now. Okay, so I'm going to pull this up because I've got all those little flowers. And I am going to set this in a different spot over here so I know that I need to grab it to do the centers. Okay, so this is the stencil that has the big open areas for the flowers. So once I get this done, this layer done, that's when I can kind of go back. So I'm going to lay everything over again. Everything is etched in, like the whole design. So even the portions that are not inking, you're still going to have those images on the stencil because It's all etched. Okay, so my flowers, the big ones, are going to be my very favorite pink. So we talked about my very favorite green, which is Rustic Wilderness. My very favorite pink is Saltwater Taffy. I would say, and that's, you know, take it with a grain of salt. Kelley's favorites. If there was ever a pink that I would say, ooh, you have to grab that or whatever, it would be Saltwater Taffy. It is my favorite. You can make it very kind of baby blushy pink, and you can make it very rich, vibrant, like a more of a coral like this. So my green go-to would be Rustic Wilderness. My pink go-to is Saltwater Taffy. And I'm going to hit these big flowers. And you'll notice I'm kind of starting off on this center portion right here. And that gives me a little bit more control of kind of where I'm dragging the ink, because I know that kind of wherever I start running those bristles of the brush, that's where a large amount of pigment is going to be dropped into the paper. So I'm kind of trying to control that just a little bit. Okay, so since we're shading tonight, I'm going to grab my brush that is worn lipstick. And you know what? I bet you I don't even have that color. Oh, you know what I've got? I've got Abandoned Coral. I bet it's this one. Okay, so let's take a little bit of Abandoned Coral. And again, I'm going to just do a little dab, dab, dab. And we're just going to give these centers, we're going to make them a little more fancy than, you know, we're not going to spend a lot of time, but we're going to make them look a little bit more fancy than what they would look like if we just did them in that pink. And you can see here, I'm not spending a lot of time, but hold on. I got a little brush mark right there. So this is the Saltwater Taffy brush. We're going to smooth out my little boo-boo where I kind of boogered that one up just a little bit. And then we're going to go back to town here. And then, okay, so tell me, friends, I know my friend Gretchen, our friend Gretchen, is spending time with some crafty friends. I wish I was there. I mean, she emailed me and I said, you know, no fair. I want to be crafting with a group of friends. And so tell me what you guys are doing. What are you working on this weekend? Is anybody else at a fun, crafty retreat with friends, or is everybody just stuck at work and home? I know Beth is farming and planting and doing all kinds of things like that. Okay, so this one is pretty much done. I am going to clean it so we can use the bunny. But I want to look in the comments here and I want to see what everybody is up to. Let's see. I'm at Scrapbook Crop Saturday. Donna. Let's see. Dawn. Is Dawn here? Hello, Dawn. Look, Dawn. What we're doing. We're doing Lazy Girl Crafting with Storybook Spring. We're going to make a fun little card with that sweet little bunny and the flowers that you drew. Okay, so we've got our pinks, but before I get too far chatting away with you guys, I'm going to go back to the layer that has the centers of these flowers, and I'm going to lay that back over. Before Kelley gets too talkative here, I'm going to lay that back over and set it down. Dawn did this whole little collection, and I think it is so super cute. Whoops, I'm throwing inks. Okay, I'm going back to my favorite, Rustic Wilderness, with my little brush. And this is where I can go right back over that Saltwater Taffy and add the little centers in. And then, oh, don't want to forget this little guy. I would be really upset. And then now, this layer is all finished too. Now we've got another little layer, and I can even, let's kind of, before that ink has time to set up. And what I'm doing is just taking a little bit of the darkness of that ink. I'm just kind of lightening it up a little bit. I want to be able to see the cute little dots and things that Dawn added into that. Okay, now this stencil, I want to give it a wipe down because this is the bunny stencil. Let me see if these others, bunny, is this one? That one has the eyes on it. Okay, let's lay that. Now I've got to figure out, okay, this one I haven't done yet. So this one is the little trumpet flowers or little bluebell looking things and some other leaves. So let's lay it over. Let's get it all lined up. But okay, so some of you are doing crafty things like crops on Saturday and retreats and like no fair. Beth is farming and gardening. Okay, so we've got leaves here and we've got the little like bluebelly looking flowers here. So I know that I'm going to want to be real careful right here, and I don't want to just take a big brush and just go all over, because we're going to want those to be separate colors. So let's do, I'm going to do a little twisted citron, I think, for those little leaves. If I can find it on my big old stack of inks here. Of course, it's going to be the last stack that I pull off. But I'm just going to use this little brush so I can get into these little areas. And I'm going to start on this flower because I know when I start dragging it over, it's going to deposit most of that pigment right there near the edge. And then I can kind of pull it up a little lighter towards the tip like that. And then let's go here. And then Dawn, maybe you could tell us, Dawn, like what your inspiration behind this little set was that you drew, like with the little cute bunny. And I know from talking to you that you did design it to be, you know, where you could make it like a girl bunny or a boy bunny. And like, what else was your inspiration with that? I'm going to take my favorite Rustic Wilderness. I'm going to give this a little bit of shading right there. So maybe Dawn can put in the comments for us. I'd be down with it if honeybee is fall would be perfect. Okay, well, let me see what you guys are talking about. Love the illustration. Beth, let's see, Beth, I love the illustration of Don. Any thoughts on expanding the storybook line? Yes, we're working on, we're twisting Dawn's arm. I'll just tell you that, Beth. And I may be giving too much information, but you know me, I'll just get fired later. We would love to do a whole storybook collection. That is kind of, well, I would love to, I mean, let's hold on so you guys can see my face. I would love to do a whole storybook collection, right? I usually start illustrating and then it evolves. And I know, Dawn, that if you're not a gardener, then you really are into like florals and things like that. So do you start with the animals or do you start with the flowers and then it kind of expands to like little critters and things? Let's see, I actually started in realism. Look, that it just looked creepy. Yeah. Make bunnies like the little birds. I would love a storybook collection. Yeah, we're going to twist Dawn's arm and then maybe, I don't know if Lisa's in here. She may be, but then maybe we can like, you know, we know people that maybe we won't have to twist anybody's arm. Let's just say. Okay, so blue bells. See, this is what happens when Kelley starts talking. Let me go back to the desk so y'all don't have to see the top of my head. All right, so I'm going to line up the little blue belly things. And then maybe Dawn can tell us in this stuff. Because from Dawn I'm almost positive that Dawn lives in Florida, where you can probably grow, I've got like a little thread right here, probably off of my shirt. Okay. Dawn lives in Florida, where you can probably grow just about anything. And she probably has a really pretty garden. Okay, so I'm going to use this big brush, this big filthy brush that's got a really pretty turquoise on it. Do I want turquoise? Let me think about this. Yeah, I think I do. Okay, and then I'm just going to brush up in this direction. That way it hits it mostly down here at the bottoms and then gets lighter as it goes to the top of these little flowers. And they're going to be a little more turquoisey color than like a true blue. Let's see what Dawn's telling. Yes, I'm in Florida. And yes, if I'm not in the studio, I'm in the garden. Well, there you go, folks. I had a feeling that Dawn was a gardener because you've seen her floral stamps and floral designs and things like that. So I kind of figured. Okay, there we go. Now let's see how we're looking here. Okay, that's looking pretty good. I could probably deepen up our little flowers there. I'm not gonna worry about it right now. I don't want to keep all of our friends too long this evening. Okay, so I'm gonna take our little wreath up, and I want to be really careful right there because it's got that fine little portion that's holding on there. And then let's put down this little friend. Look how stinking adorable this little guy is. And I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use his little stencil. So there's a couple of ways, friends, that you can go about this. You could color him with Copic markers, very easily. Like we did the little birds the other night. And I'm going to show you how I'm going to do this. And it's going to make it easy peasy. But again, I'm going to have to dig through my stack of inks. Dawn, I've been telling our friends how Lisa and I have been testing the dies for the May release. And so a lot of fun. Okay, I've got Lost Shadow and I've got Hickory Smoke. And we're going to play a little bit. I'm going to grab like this size, which is the size 10 of the new Belux brushes. And I'm going to kind of go through this. So my goal is to have a little gray bunny, but not have him like super duper. I don't want to go like this all over the bunny, if that makes sense. I'm going to start on each area here. And I'm going to actually drag on the color like this. So it's going to give him, let me make sure it's Lost Shadow. It's going to give him a little shading around his edges. And right now, it doesn't look like anything is coming on to this little guy. But you can see it, I should say, in real life. So I'm just going to work my way around the stencil. And I'm starting on the plastic part of the stencil. And then pulling on. So he's going to be like a light, like whitish gray little guy. And then anywhere that I kind of want to deepen up, we may do that here in just a second. Let's get a little bit going here on his little forehead. And I'm going to really drag my brush. You can see that I'm not careful with these little bristles, you guys. I'm really dragging it on that ink pad to get it down in those bristles really nicely. And let's get his little forehead, some shading. Keep working there, down his cute little ears. And then on this little side of his face. And my goal here is to have a little like whitish gray colored bunny, but I want him to stay really light. That's why I'm not just going to town like all over this stencil with the gray. And I can tell you, like on the camera, he doesn't look like he has a lot of color on him, but in real life, I can see a lot more of that gray. Okay, so that's Lost Shadow. Now, that was with the big number 10 brush, which is the largest of our new little like fine detail brushes. Next, I'm going to take the baby brush, which is a number 5. And this is where I'm going to go Hickory Smoke, which is quite a bit darker. And let's see here. I'm going to do a little rub off. We're going to do a little test here. And let's see here. I've managed to keep the African violets alive. Love coloring bunnies. Okay, and I'm really going to work it in those bristles. Okay, so I'm going to start like up here and drag a little bit on his ear. And I'm going to work my way down. And I'm running the brush pretty much right on the edge of the stencil and then pulling it onto like his little body. And then let's add little dark tips to his ears so they match. And then I'm going to go right down the edge of the stencil. And then I'm going to flip. I've got my bristles flipped upside down where the little tip is facing like towards me. And I'm going to drag it up his chest just like that. And let's get right down here. Okay. And I don't want to add like a whole lot of shading. I'm going to peel this spot back and let's reveal. Let's see how he's looking here. And then there we go. That is pretty darn good for having it covered in the stencil and not really seeing the finished product until the end. Okay, I'm going to grab, let's see here. No, I think I've got them over here. Let's see here. I'm going to grab an R30. And we're going to give this little guy some character, okay? So now you can really see after I pulled that stencil back, you can see where I made the tips of his ears a little bit deeper. I've got a little bit deeper right around the edge, and then it fades out to like almost white, like right in the center of his face. I'm going to use the R30, which is, it's hard to get it to focus there, but it's a really light, like blushy pink. And we're going to make him like a sweet little nose. Right in there. I'm going to flick up and add some little pink right into the insides of his ears. Just some easy peasy little streaks here. Let's give him like some little pink cheekies right there in his little whiskers. Just a little dab will do you there. Let's put this one up just a little bit. His little nose. He is cute. Okay, now let me take my R, and this is the quadruple 0. So this is like barely pink. And I'm just going to kind of go right around the edges of the pink here, and I'm just kind of muting it out just a tiny bit. Let's go around his nose just a hair. Let's pull this out just a little bit. Just like that. Okay, and let's finish him off with, I got a little bleedy whisker there a little bit, but that's okay. Let me come out. Okay, now I've got my gel pens. I've got a black and a white. Now for my black one, I always like this black glaze because I like what it does on like little critters and things. And then my favorite white gel is the Uniball Signo little pen. And this is what we're going to do here. So I always start it on like a scrap piece of paper because you want to get like the crusty stuff that comes off. You want to get that. You don't want it on your bunny. And so I'm going to go over his little eyes. And with these black pens, you almost just want to lay down a dot and almost kind of just drag and spread the ink that comes out. You don't want to like go to town coloring it in because it will drop a whole bunch of ink out of the little pen. You can kind of do that if you wanted to vary. And I'm barely going to hit his little area of his little nose and his little mouth. And then the white, I'm going to get it started off on scrap paper. And then I'm just going to add, let's see if I can get it going. Come on. I'm just going to add some little white dots. Let me see if I can. This white pen is making me angry. Come on. Let's see if I have another one somewhere. I don't think I do. It may be time to order some more pens. Phooey. Okay. Anyway, I don't think my white pen is going to cooperate. But you guys get the gist here. Oh, you know what? Aha! There's the white pen. Here's my good one. Yes. Okay, and then if you wanted to add, you know, some little things just to give him a little bit of character, you can add some little things. Okay, so here I'm going to call the little guy, I'm going to call him Done. I think he's cute. He's a cutie patootie. All right, let's put this card together. Let's peel this back. And let's pull this out just a little bit. There we go. All right, now, so Monday night, I mentioned that we did the little birds. Well, I ended up reworking the little birds card, and we needed a different picture. So I ended up changing it to kind of get rid of the musical thing so we could show it in a different way with the birdies like just on the branches and just on the flowers. So I really liked how this turned out. So I'm kind of going to mimic this look, but with the little bunny and stuff. So what I have done is I have a white card base here, and I've got this time a blushy pink piece of paper. And before I ran it through my die machine with the Sandy's Garden embossing folder, I cut this scalloped circle out to give us a little window for our little guy is going to like peek out here. And then I also cut me a white circle because we're going to make him a little home to kind of hang out. But if you look here, like, look how cute this is going to be. So this is kind of what we're going with here. And we're going to make him a little spot to hang out in here. And then, and you don't have to do this. I'm going to cheat and I'm going to show you why. And then he's going to hang out like right in here. Like, look how freaking adorable. You could even have him with just the embossing folder and like a cute little sentiment like up here if you wanted to do something easy peasy. But he or she, because she's going to have her little crown on, they're going to hang out. All right, so let's create a little spot for our little girl or guy, whatever, to hang out. And I am going to do, let's do teal. Let's do turquoise. Let me find my brush in the mess. And then I'm just going to add a little shading. So I'm going to start at what's going to end up being the bottom. And I'm going to have it a lot more heavy-handed right down here. And then I'm going to fade up to white. So I'm going to start that turquoise right down in there. And then I'm getting a lot lighter handed and just kind of adding just a haze of color as I move up. Let's switch grips here. And then he's going to have a little spot to hang out. Okay. So this background is already added onto my card base with just a few of our little foam dots. And then I'm going to take this little circle that we just made, and that is going to go nested in our little hole that we made here. And all I have to do is kind of line up the circles. Once I get the coloring and everything where I want it, make sure that we're pretty even here, and I just kind of puzzle piece it inside. And I'm going to line that up. Sorry if I'm off camera a little bit. I'm just holding that up in front of my eyes there so I can kind of look at it. Make sure everything is lined up. Okay, now, because we've already got a little bit of dimension going on here, you could always like pop this up and even add more dimension if you want to. I think I'm just going to add it down with a bit of liquid adhesive, and I'm putting it pretty close to the edge of this little garland or little wreath of flowers because I want to catch it. You know what? I'm going to go to town here now that I hold it up. I'm usually not a big glue girl, but let's see here. And I kind of want to nestle it right there where it catches just the sides of our little circle. And I'm going to kind of hold my fingers on it and let that glue attach just a little bit. Ooh, my husband's aunt is a watercolor artist. This year's theme is woodland animals with a flower on their heads. You need to share. Okay, this little guy is kind of sticking up, but we're going to go with the flow with that one because it'll probably be cute and add a little bit of little whimsical touch. Okay, I'm going to take one of these little dots and I'm going to clip it. And now I'm going to add not just a crown, but a dimensional crown right like there. And then I'm going to add a little adhesive right back here. And then I can just kind of hook her right in the center. And I'm going to hold it up again. I want to make sure that I got her little chest and everything all down in there. Kind of tucked right in those little flowers. How sweet would that be for a baby card? Like a baby girl card? Oh my goodness. I just cannot even believe it. Okay, now I'm going to stamp a sentiment. So I'm going to move this off to the side and we're going to let that adhesive set up a little bit. And I've got bees and things to add too. Okay, so I think I'm going to add this. I like this Sending Spring Greetings. I think it's cute and it's just sweet. So I have my piece of scrap paper here that I use to stamp the little bees and the butterflies that we're gonna that's gonna be our little embellishment at the end. Is gonna be the bees and the butterflies. But you can add pearls, little gems, whatever. Okay, so I've got my stamp here. And let's pick it up. And then I am going to do a color. Let's do, let me see what I've got out in my mess here. Maybe that one. I think it's going to be this one. Let me take a look here. No, you know what? I'm going to go with green. I think I'm going to do Rustic Wilderness. I was going to go with the pink of the Saltwater Taffy, but we have a lot of pink on this card already with the embossed paper and all the little flowers and things. So I think just this really nice crisp green is going to be pretty. Okay, so we've got our little sentiment. And I love stamping with my oxide inks. I love to add the color instead of just having sometimes we need a black sentiment. But I like adding a little fun. Okay. So here's the sentiment. Now let's find in my mess I got going on here, my coordinating die. If I can get it right there. All right, let's see what you guys. Flip will say, oh my gosh, you guys are talking about hee-haw. Oh, Rachel said Saltwater Taffy. Well, Rachel, I really ruined that plan, didn't I, girl? I could have gone with the pink. I kind of wanted to find that, and I don't have it on my desk, that turquoisey blue to use, but I didn't have that color. Okay, I'm going to run this through my die machine, so it's going to be loud for just a second. All right. And then we got that thing coming out. And let's see how we did here. There we go. All right, so now we've got our cute little sentiment that I think I'm going to add right down there. Look how sweet that's going to be with the green. Cute. Okay, now I've been mentioning this whole time, I've got all the little bees and the butterflies that those are going to be our little embellishments here. Okay, so I want to use, normally I'm like a pearl or a gem kind of girl, but I think that these little butterflies and bees are going to be perfect. Okay, so I've just added a little bit of tape, a little bit of dimensional tape, and then let's add this. And I kind of want it to just kind of nestle in right there. And let's make sure we're all nice and straight. That's looking pretty good. Okay, now let's add our fun little bees and butterflies. So we've got a butterfly here. And I'm going to kind of, like up in here would even be cute. Like that's on, I'm going to have to hold that down. It's kind of flying into the little wreath or little garland. Okay, we've got a second butterfly. That I can add. Let's add him right here. And I'm going to hold that down just for a second and let it connect. There we go. I'm going to have to put, you know what I'm going to have to do after the live is I'm going to take some dimensional dots and put up underneath my little wreath just to give that some cushion. I won't bore you all with that tonight, but okay, these little bees, look how tiny they are. Look how sweet. And I think like one buzzing maybe right up here is adorable. And then here's another little bee. That I think I'm going to add right down here by the sentiment. And I hold that right there on that paper and let it connect. And then we've got one more cutesy little bee. And let's put that one over here. And then they kind of act the same as like when you put your little pearls and things, kind of, you know, leading the eye towards the sentiment a little bit. But there we go. All right, let's put that glue away so I don't make a mess. But look how sweet. Is that not adorable? Dawn, you did a good job, my friend. I think that the little Storybook spring bunny is flippin' adorable. Baby cards, spring cards, you name it. This is precious. This is precious. Okay, smart to use. I know they don't even need any little pearls and things with all the little butterflies and the little bees and the little critters and things. I think that is adorable. You know what might be cute that would take too much away is to take a little bit of the shimmery stickles and just do just a hint of sparkle just in the little flowers and things. That might be the only way that I would add anything else, but I think it is sweet. He's kind of behind. Okay. Tanya is talking about something. Oh, you're talking about Cutie. Let's see. Linda, thank you. Okay. Have you all seen Lisa here tonight? I wonder what Lisa is doing. Is she here or is she not here? We're going to see as I take a drink of water. Glitter pen for sure. Glitter pen. You could totally do that. Thank you. Lisa's here. I haven't seen her. Sparkle on the wings. Yes, she was here. We're going to see if she pipes up here in a second. Hey, Keiko. There she is. I knew my girl would come through. All right. Let's see here. Beverly Robinson, you are the winner, my friend. All right, Beverly, if you will email me at Kelley, Kelley, @honeybeestamps.com, I am going to send you a prize. Congratulations, Beverly Robinson. Thank you all for joining me tonight and playing with Dawn's Storybook Spring Collection. I hope you had as much fun as I did. He's so stinking cute. I see baby cards in my future. We have sweet little babies arriving in our church, and I think that this is going to make beautiful cards for little welcome baby cards. So thank you all for joining me. Come back next Monday. You never know what Kelley might be up to, and I will see you then. Have a wonderful crafty weekend, my friends. Bye.